Guys, welcome back to RBR and say hello to what is probably your next Audi TT. This is the Audi Concept C, and it's apparently barely a concept, being very, very close to the production car that will drop in 2027. And that car is meant to be an all-electric, two-seat, rear-wheel driven sports car. And a rear-wheel driven sports car is something that Audi has never had in the segment like the TT ever before. But today is not about drivetrain or technology. Instead, this car is really signaling where Audi are going to be taking their design, not just for sports cars, but for all cars going forward in what is a massive, massive change. But it's not just this front end. It's pretty much everything else. It's a whole new interior structure, the buttons being used, the steering wheel, the logic of the layout, the lights. It's all new Audi agenda and basically a whole new direction for the brand and something they're calling Radical Next. Now you guys are going to look at that front end and say, well, we can think of a few other words to call it other than radical. And the main thing is that grille. It's a big departure from our single frame grille, and it's a lot more rectangular, it's a lot more geometric, even the lights, everything's straighter. I'm sure there's comparisons that you're already making in your mind right now. This is a totally different look for them. But that front end is only part of the overall story. There's so many areas in this car where they've taken customer feedback and actually acted upon it. Then other areas, like this beautiful rear end, that ties so closely to the heritage of the brand, and then amazing things with the lights and other bits of the interior that I can't wait to show you. So we have a ton to unpack today. Let me take you through it and show how this two-seat sports car of Audi's future is actually going to frame every other car that they have coming. So today's episode of RBR is once again sponsored by NordVPN. Now, a lot of phones and devices have inbuilt VPNs now, but the control that Nord has always given us, like choosing your region, which for me has been brilliant because when I've been abroad and I want to access my UK Crunchyroll or Netflix library or watch history, then it's easy to do. And it gives me peace of mind when using public Wi-Fi, protecting my data, my cards, etc., etc. So it's great as a VPN. But one product these guys have done recently that has been game-changing for things other than VPN is this thing called threat protection. Now, this is something you can turn on without turning on the VPN. And what Nord essentially wanted to do was make your internet browsing experience like it used to be back in the good old days when you didn't have these horrible websites with malicious ads you can't get rid of, and these websites that would track you and make a profile about you. Tell me if this hasn't happened to you. Like, I was searching for coffee machines, and for the next 20 days, all you see everywhere is coffee machine ads. And it's really annoying. Threat protection puts an end to all of that. It puts an end to the profiling. It gets rid of the malicious malware on these websites. Heck, it will even scan files you download for you to make sure they are safe for extra peace of mind. It's also really easy to turn on. Let me show you how to do it. It's within the NordVPN app itself. All you do, you go into the app. You don't need to turn on the VPN if you don't want to. You hit this shield button here, and then you've got threat protection, knock it on, and that is it. It can be turned on independently of your VPN. So there you go, so easy. And then you've got a much more peaceful internet browsing experience. And if you turn on the VPN, even better, because you've got that much more protection. Now, of course, as an RBR viewer, I've got you a great deal. Use the link below and go to NordVPN/RBR. And on a 2-year plan, you'll get 4 months extra free. And for peace of mind, you got Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So well worth trying it. So that's NordVPN.com/RBR. And you'll just have a more peaceful browsing experience. Guys, a huge thanks to you guys for always supporting our amazing regular sponsors. Now, let's get back to the car. So guys, the first thing we have to talk about, of course, is design. And as we begin to talk about design, we have to address the elephant in the room, which is the vertical grille, okay? Because it is a shocking first point of contact, as we said. Where did they get the idea from? They got the idea from the Auto Union Type C race car. Auto Union was what Audi used to be known as. This was back in like 1936 when they had the rivalry going on with Mercedes and in the Silver Arrows. It was a hugely successful race car, and it had that vertical style of grille, which now Audi wants to link back to their heritage in this car. Now, more importantly, like we said, this car is signaling what they're planning to do in the future. So they're going away from that single frame design that we're used to and now coming to this more vertical, squarer, almost monolith type design, particularly most notable on the front end and within things like our light treatment. You'll also see hints of other cars within this Concept C as well. Cars like the Rosenmeyer, which was the ill-fated cousin of the Veyron. And you'll see that within the wheels, you see that within certain details on the rear end of this car as well. You'll also see vague shapes from, say, the iRobot or the RSQ, such a famous car in pop culture now. And of course, the original TT1 forming the basis for the shape, and a bit of that kind of R8 a little bit as well. So undoubtedly, loads of Audi heritage design buried within this. And I think a lot of you are going to look at that front and you're going to liken it to the Jaguar 00, right? I know that's going to happen. And I think the main reason for that is going to be the shape of the lights and that cut that goes from the top of the light back down to the carbon diffuser. And I see that, I see it. Is that a bad thing? It's too early to, this is my first half an hour looking at this car. It's too early to say. I'd love to know what you guys think. But there's a ton more design features to show you. So let's have a look at all of these bits. I'm really keen to get you guys up and close. So let's check out some of the design details now. So guys, as we start to talk about the design, let's first talk about the size of this car, which is actually, despite the way it actually looks quite compact. It's significantly longer than the current TT and longer than something like the current Porsche Boxster as well. And it's much, much wider. And you will see that as we now begin to come towards the front end. The front end is really going to be the main talking point of this car, isn't it, in terms of design? Which is a shame because there's a lot of bits around this that I'm quite eager to show you beyond just that front end, but it's hard to ignore the grille, which is such a big departure now, isn't it, for Audi? So before we've had the single frame grille, and now you have this very straight grille that they say, I think it's a bit of a tenuous link to history, if we're honest, linking it to that Type C race car. What's nice about it is, first of all, the badge, which is, although it's new, it's returned to the metal work that you and I love, which is great. And you know, it looks so much more premium immediately. You've got the brush finish on the outside, the chamfered edge on the borders. Within the glass grille, you can see these kind of almost radiator-like lines, and I'm guessing that's like a radar at the bottom. But that is going to take some getting used to, I think, for all of us. What is positive is how it matches with these massive air intakes on the side. And they are huge, like something you'd expect to see in a race car. And then that links in a really nice way to the forged gloss carbon at the bottom, which is a nice touch. It's nice and subtle. And then when you look, I think, at the dead front end, like right down the middle, you got to say that it has that Bugatti-like look to it, doesn't it? It's got that kind of Veyron, Chiron thing going on. Partly helped by the width, but those cars have always been kind of related because of the VW Group connection and that Rosenmeyer concept as well, so not out of place in that sense. The other connection I know that you're going to make is, of course, Jaguar 00. I know that we've talked about this because of, I think more than anything, that light and this line that goes down here, and I accept that. I don't know how I feel about it yet, it's much too early to say. But there's other things that I know that I do like, things like how muscular the shoulders are. And to me, the way Audi have designed this car, it almost feels like it's something that a tech maker has designed, like Apple. It's very, very deliberate. This whole car looks like a monoblock of metal that's just been cut down and all the lines are only there for a certain purpose. It is actually really beautiful. Now, one thing that Audi are absolutely renowned for is their lighting technology. It's where they destroy their rivals in every way. And this car is no different. So they are starting off now with a new signature, which is a 4-light signature. And you can see it wake up there. Now this 4-light signature that you see here is what they're going to start to use going forward. You can see it's got a slight animation. But then it has a party trick, which is this, which is the high beam, which I find so cool. I love the mechanical noise within it. This will obviously be used at night, and then these are your daytime running lights. And that's not only something that you have on the front, it's also something that they have on the rear of the car, which I'll show you in a sec. But that's really cool. And at first where I was kind of rolling my eyes at the long straight bar, now that feels like it's something that they own. And it's a very, very Audi thing to be so far ahead, I think, on a bit of lighting technology. So I love that element. So that's the front. I'm going to let you marinate over it, see what you think about it. The side, though, I will take no criticism of because this is just, it's Audi DNA, pure and pure. If I hid, for example, the logo on the wheels here, you still know that that is an Audi wheel. It's a TT wheel, it's an Audi Avis wheel, it's, you know, whatever car that you want to link it to, the Rosemeyer concept, that is Audi design through and through. And it looks great. Nice big wheel sitting on Michelin 4S's there. You see again, deliberate, like I keep calling it that edge, that defined edge, but it gives it a lot of muscle with that line there. But then it all shrinks in the middle, kind of like a race car. Then you've got the forged carbon again at the bottom. But it gets better when we move away from that and we come to the rear pillar. I mean, come on, that rear section with that defined cut down the middle, that is pure Audi. That links to R8, it links to TT, it links to all of those concepts, and it's beautiful. And that's whether you have the roof on or off. I'll show you what it looks like with the roof on in a second. It looks great. And this is a matte titanium finish, which again accentuates those curves even more. That looks beautiful. You come around to the rear and the story gets even better. Like I said, we have strong Audi DNA here with the really strong shoulders on the sides, which look great. You've got the horizontal slats through our rear here, and these are actually functional. So we've got a rear camera hiding within that one, and then you have our brake light, which hides under there. So it's all done for a purpose. This actually opens from here to allow this particular car to charge. So nothing is there in a superfluous way, if you like. It's all there for purpose. Our badge, again, metallic as it should be. See, little things like this make us really happy. How premium does that look compared to the plastic one that they've been using in recent times? Then the lights, like I said to you, the lights, same treatment as the front. You've got that Ford signature that is going to be their style going forward. And then these also switch their design when the car is braking in a similar way to the way you see the front. And again, I like that. Again, this is going to end up being quite a signature style for them. Then you have a look at the rear diffuser, really aggressive, not a huge amount of intricate design here, but just very purposeful stuff with your cuts going down there, again, forged carbon, and you've got the typical RS brake light inspired by F1 in the middle that you've seen in recent RS cars. But these are just the details. You look at the car overall, and like I said, properly ingrained in Audi heritage. Now, while it looks nice with the roof open, I think it actually looks even better when you close the roof. Quite in love with this car with the roof up. It's got electric folding hardtop, which is obviously something quite different and unique for an Audi sports car. And with the roof closed, just looks as great as any of their coupes from the past. I love that silhouette. I love the fact that it's not a compromise in any way versus a traditional drop top because of that. But more than that is how harmoniously it works with the design and how well then it links back to their heritage. You know, having that cut there is such an R8 thing, right? And again, very much TT as well in its execution, but then brought forward to the future. And then when you have the roof closed, that unending roof line just looks so gorgeous, particularly in this matte titanium. It is beautiful. And I don't know what you guys think. To my money, roof closed, it looks even better than with the roof open. I don't know if the final car will have that type of treatment on the rear with the brake lights, etc., but that is particularly stunning, I think. Here you see you've got that two-part structure of the roof with this main part and then the smaller second part, which then all folds in pretty quick, about 10 seconds into the rear. But yeah, I'm a big fan of what it looks like with the roof closed. Now guys, let's head inside. The interior, funnily enough, the thing that I'm actually most excited about now. The way to actually get into this car, quite different. See that little flashy light there? Give that little push, and it tells me to bugger off. Give that little push, get a green light saying you can open the door. Again, this is Audi kind of melding the modern day technology with something as simple as opening a door. And you can see immediately, very warm tones, a very different yet very recognizable interior. I'm going to get onto that in a sec. Let me jump in first. And as you jump in, you get this nice welcome animation with the ambient lighting at the bottom, kind of highlighting your forged carbon. You start to see elements now of the car coming alive, whether it's the ambient lighting, the driver zone, which is really interesting. But for me, the first thing, the star of the show for someone who's driven so many of the newer Audis has to be the steering wheel, which I'm so happy about. Look at that baby. Now a redone Audi steering wheel. I've moaned so much about the one that's in their newer cars, but I think they've taken on that feedback, and now we've got the traditionally round shaped one. You've even got, just like on the outside, that brushed metal finish and then a 3D metallic Audi ring here, which is a small thing, but it means so much to those of us who care. And then you begin to see other elements that tie in so well with the exterior, and it's all again a very monolith design. You got this kind of titanium look here. This door handle is beautiful. It must be the most beautiful door handle I've ever seen in a modern car. Then you see that kind of anodized metal look follows within this almost cylindrical middle dashboard, cuts within it, much like you have the cut right down the middle of the car. I think you see that everywhere, like in the door cards here. It's very obvious, and we'll have a look at these door cards in a minute, but they're beautiful. And all of this with this, again, almost like a floating, it looks like a landing pad to me under this cylinder here. This part with the ambient lighting is on our forged carbon, almost like you're going to see some spaceships come and land on it. And we'll talk about all of this, but that first look, really impressive, really quite analog. It's nice to see buttons, it's nice to see a lot of structure, a lot of form, and not necessarily a huge amount of screens. Now speaking of screens, we have got two of them. First is our driver zone, which is tucked behind some Quattro flaps. I'll talk about that in a second. And secondly, we have another screen here which is controlled by this button, and I absolutely love this. Check that out. Not only do I love the fact that it's foldable, I love the fact that it's a small screen but still really visible to the driver. So this is the basic structure of the interior. You've got your driver zone, you've got the small foldable screen here, a few important buttons in the middle here like your drive select, your roof operation, and then a lot of tactile buttons here in the steering wheel as well. And I think that is a great basis, not just for this Audi, but for any Audi. Okay, let's get onto the steering wheel. Scream for joy, absolutely love it. Look at this thing. A nice round Audi steering wheel, just like the best RS cars have had in the recent past. And I really like it. It's got that titanium-like finish here on the buttons and all of the switch work here, which looks beautiful. Gives it a really warm, but also I think a premium feel to this, which I really like. And the great thing is, listen to this. You have the typical Audi click in here, which you get little things like that are so important to the customers. And you can see we can flick through information on the screen here, and it's very easy to do. So I like what they're doing with the software here. This is obviously all just for display at the moment because this is a concept car. So it just gives you an idea of what they could go with when it comes to a final UI. Similarly, on our folding screen here, you get an idea of what might be possible in terms of home screens, and it all actually looks really quite slick. But yes, back to the steering wheel. You've got your drive select here with your race button. You've got the boost button here. What's nice is you can see these are all workable. These are real use case scenarios with your radar cruise control here, your ability to control volume, etc. I love this. Look at that. That's little things like this we've been missing in modern cars, haven't we? Similarly, that's on this side as well. Yes, overall, so delighted. I've moaned so much about that flat steering wheel we have in the newer Audi cars. To have this back, and it will be back, is an absolute pleasure. One other thing I really liked is down the side here we have like a cylinder that controls your seat movement, and it was so intuitive that even without being told, I knew how to use it. And again, it's in a similar shape to all the cylinders that you see around the interior generally. So that was a really good job as well. And you want to get out the car, all you do, little push again on that exact same type of user interface, and you jump out. Now, I want to talk to you about the front screen here, where you have these two flanks that they call the Quattro flanks. Why do they call it that? Because the original Quattro car had those with buttons on the side here. And now they brought it back, and it covers the screen to help protect it from the sun, etc. as well, I think, which is probably a good idea. You've also got the additional screen above it for your miles, etc., and that necessary information. But one cool thing is they've added these lights on the side as part of that Quattro flank, if you like. And say you do something like the launch control of the car. Look at that. How cool is that? That'll then give you lights to show you what's happening with the car. Perhaps in the future on an ICE car, they could do it for your shift lights. Perhaps they could do it for blind spot control. You know, that's up to use cases later on, but I like that, that's quite interesting. I like the fact that this whole thing has a cover. And one thing I want you guys to take away from this interior is the focus on materials, whether that's the material that we have here on the door card, whether that's that titanium anodized look here, also found on the buttons, on all of the button work, then even on these touch points that we have for our lights or on the climate control, it's not something I've ever seen in another car, this mattified type glass, and it looks quite premium. You look at the forged carbon fiber hiding underneath here where the ambient lighting is, you know, very subtly lighting it up. You've got the thick pile carpet, the use of the artificial leather here, the see-through glass here for your storage area, bringing across, you know, you'll be able to see your sunglasses, etc., hiding within there. And then, for example, we also have a place that you can store your phone in as well. So, and again, that's in a really nice mattified glass finish. And you even look behind, we've got a little bit of ambient lighting back there, the continuation of the leather. Now, the other thing you'll see here are the stalks. So we've got our drive stalk here, park, reverse, neutral drive, etc. And you've got your wipers here. These look quite substantial and quite nice, so it's nice to see that there as well. And they match then the interior in terms of the color of the leather. Now, one thing in here that you won't see, but it is an impressive thing, I think, and that is the door cards. So you've got this like cotton type finish on it, but hidden within these are actually the speakers. And you've seen it in things like the HomePods, etc., and perhaps some Sonos speakers where you have this material. But that's why the speakers could be hidden within here, because it's not something you really need to see. You don't need to see speaker grills, and that's quite a cool innovation. The best part for me of the door card, though, is this metallic element with this beautiful metal door handle that looks so alien to the rest of the door card that it's just beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful door handles I've ever seen in a car. And a door handle is not something you really, you know, go wild about or care about, but it's genuinely bloody nice, especially when the door is closed and then it links up to the front dash. This is some lovely design. The material finish of this, even if they keep 50% of it in the final car, will blow you away, in my opinion. It's really well done, and it's nice to see Audi come back to form when it comes to interiors. And then it's easy, if you want to fold the screen away, you just pop it away and it hides completely. And look at that lovely glow you get in the middle as well. And I really like the little light glow with the metal within there. Those cuts, very, very impressive. And again, the 4 lines on this side, really, really high quality. I know it's a concept, but I am impressed with this. Now, before we sign off, a few technical details that we know right now. So first of all, we know that it's a fully electric car. We know that it has a centrally placed battery position, and we know that this is rear-wheel driven. Actually, the first rear-wheel drive Audi to ever be in this particular segment, because the TT never did that. It was either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So because it's fully electric, I think we could hazard a guess that it's based on their PPE, or Premium Platform Electric platform, shared with Porsche, who also happen to be using that platform to make their own electric sports car in the all-electric Boxster. The other thing that we know is that this car weighs in at around about 1,690 kg, which is apparently close to what that Porsche weighs in at as well. And if you're curious, the TTRS weighs in at around about 1,500 kg right now as the ICE version. This car obviously a lot bigger, and then with the battery element, that's not bad going. But that's pretty much all we know in terms of the technical details. That is for another day. Today, as we said, this is more about the new direction for Audi, this new radical direction brought on by this, which is probably our next TT. So guys, undoubtedly, this is basically what your future TT is going to be, right? All electric, rear-wheel driven, 2-seat roadster with pretty much what I think is a pretty stunning design that will then translate across the board for Audi in general. And while I still have kind of mixed feelings on that front end, I think the rest of it is undoubtedly so firmly planted in their heritage that it's hard not to be excited to see where they could take that with other shaped cars in the brand. There's things here I absolutely love, particularly the return to form on the interior, with that attention to logic, the tactility, the materials, that steering wheel, and the focus on the driver and what the driver feels in his hands and his fingertips being such a great focus in this car. And then other things like the massively fun and distinctive lights. Audi have always been known for lights, and it makes me really happy to see them really pushing the bar again with this new distinctive 4-light signature. Then you have things like the muscular body, particularly from that angle, looking so aggressive. I absolutely love it. And then the little things that we complained about that they've then come and fixed, particularly the badging, which I know it's small, but it makes me happy. One thing I will say though, they have to make an IC version. If they think they could just get away with electric, they'll have a rude awakening. We need to see some exhaust pipes at the back of a new TT. The pessimist within me wonders, in those steps that we've taken forward and the things that they've corrected, have we taken some steps back, particularly with regard to that face? It is radical. There's a lot of words that you could use to describe it. And I think Audi knows this as well as I do. The true test for this is whether you think it's Vorsprung durch Technik or not. And as this video drops, I know they will, and I can't wait to watch and see what you guys think in the comments as well. See you guys.